detector, and even in medical equipment depend on radiations in one way or the other. Now, as the world continues to develop and technology improves, a lot more radiations will be close to us and around us like never before. Just how safe are these applications and how do we dispose them? In studio with me is Isaac Kwaweru, Deputy Director, Inspection and Enforcement, Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. Karibu sana on set as we have this discussion on matters nuclear. And as on the onset, someone would say the only nuclear that I hear of is that one that the US president is always given the codes. Kindly just break down these radiations and nuclear and how it applies to us back home.
Well, thank you, Dennis, for inviting us for this live show so that we can share brief information about the radiation, ionizing radiation, and what KNRA does to protect the members of the public from the harmful effects of the ionizing radiation. Basically, all of us, we normally encounter radiation from our day-to-day activities. In Kenya, you apply ionizing radiation or radiation in all sectors of our economy. For example, here, I'm sure there is a smoke detector. It has a small radiation material inside it to assist in detecting smoke in this building. For those who normally use the pressure lamps in the villages or the gas lanterns, we usually have the mantle. The mantle has some small amount of radioactive material. When heated, it glows. Think of the security areas. For example, you're at our airports. We have the luggage scanners. We have the cargo scanners to ensure people are not smuggling items. We also apply radiation in the medical sectors. Like, for example, when most of us were joining the tertiary education levels, maybe the colleges or the universities, most of us went through the X-rays, the chest X-ray. That's ionizing radiation to assist diagnosing any ailment that one could be having. Or even a simple thing like in our western region, Kenya, where we have cases of thunderstorms, the lighting arresters also. Oh, they have radioactive materials in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as a country, in terms of using nuclear and applying that on a day-to-day activities, where are we as a country and how safe is it?
The good thing, Kenya has a legislation and a regulatory framework to ensure members of the public, properties, and our environment is protected. It's safe from the harmful effects of the ionizing radiation when in use. And that's why the government has enacted a law called the Nuclear Regulatory Act, which came into force in 10th of January 2020. The same law has come up with an agency called Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority, where I come from.
Now, I see according to the law says this is to provide protection of persons, property, and the environment. But as we talk about protection and to the people and the environment comes the question of, with all these radioactive material that we have, question is on disposal. As we speak right now, we know the differences between China and Japan on the disposal of waste material. In terms of disposal in the country, where are we? How safe is it? And do we have even those facilities, say, in areas where there's high usage of these radioactive materials?
Government, through KNRA, has made great strides in ensuring safe disposal of radioactive waste material and disused radioactive sources. The government, through the taxpayers' money, funded construction of a multi-billion facility at the Ololua Forest. We normally call it the Central Radioactive Waste Processing Facility, which is operated by the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority, where the radioactive materials from different operators, any disused radioactive materials, are usually transported to that facility. They are conditioned and stored in that facility temporarily while you are looking now for a permanent disposal of those disused or radioactive materials.
Can you take us through what your body does, and while at it, tell us about the dangers of having unregulated nuclear radiation equipment that get into the country? How dangerous is that? And also, what exactly do you do to make sure that these dangerous materials do not get into the country?
As KNRA, we are there mandated to set up a regulatory control on safe use of ionizing radiation or the radioactive materials or nuclear material in our different economy sectors. We have come up with regulations which the members of the public who are involved in that sector, they have to meet the minimum requirement for safe use of those radioactive materials or ionizing radiation sources. Also the security of the sources themselves. We have the authorization regime, which has been set up by the regulatory authority. For one to be allowed to possess and use the material, even to operate such material, he has to be authorized by the authority. And for you to be authorized by the authority, you need to have met the minimum safety and security requirements for possessing and using those sources. Who are your staff? Are they fully trained? What is their background training on radiation safety and security of radioactive materials? So some of the elements which we have put in place to ensure our material, the radioactive material, the radiation sources are safe for use. Members of public are safe. Even the worker themselves, when they're operating those sources, they are safe when they're using the materials. And you understand that in this time of a period where we are living, there are people who have malicious intentions. So if such requirements have not put in place, then our sources, so the radiation sources, they'll be at risk, maybe of someone stealing them, and we know we need them for the benefits which the community, the society is accruing from them. Some might decide to misuse them, or even they might decide even to come up with some modification of detonations. And if those dirty bombs blew off, you can understand the outcry which can come from the public and also from the media. Secondly, people might even decide now to transship them to neighboring countries, also causing some risk also to other countries. So that's why the government, through the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority, has set up all those minimum requirements to ensure safety of our members of the public, the workers who are using those sources of ionizing radiation, and also those who will be exposed, like the patients, during the medical exposures.
Now, let me just paint a picture of instances that I have witnessed before, where you find, say, a pregnant woman does not go through the scanning machines, or someone who has a pacemaker is also told not to use that. Why is that the case?
The screening machine, basically, which are normally used at the airports for security purposes, basically they are not sources of ionizing radiation. Those are more of they are more of metal detectors. So you can understand someone having a pacemaker, there's a form of metal inside him, so it might go off, and someone might think he's having an illegal metal inside him, but in real sense, what he's having is a pacemaker which is assisting him with the heart rate.
So it is not a question of the radiations within the machine that is interfering with their systems.
Really, yes.
At least now that is clear. But now, as we talk about issues to do with the nuclear, there are those who they are positive and negative, and majority of people, whenever they hear nuclear energy or nuclear radiation, they think of the negative aspects of nuclear out there. But clearly, it's what we need on our day-to-day lives. So how then do we create synergies to make sure that the public understands what nuclear is, how we use it, how we can take advantage of them to be able to do different things in the society?
I think today's discussion is one of the synergy which our authority and your media house has created to enlighten people about the benefits of ionizing radiation. And ionizing radiation is even found in our food. For example, the bananas we normally eat, it's a major source of potassium.
Okay.
And maybe 0.012% of that potassium is radioactive. But the level of radioactivity in that banana has not reached the level of causing any risk or harm to the human beings. Think of the old televisions which were in use, like which had the covered ray tube, the CRTs. They used to emit some X-rays, but the X-rays which were emitted by those CRT tube televisions did not reach the threshold level which could cause any risk or any harm to the users or to the operators. And in addition, we also have our website, which also has a page on the facts and questions which people ask themselves about the ionizing radiation issues. Secondly, we have also direct line to our offices where if one has a question, we are at reach. We have officers who can respond to each and every question which people have about.
Now finally, just take us through the postgraduate course that you've launched right now. That will be launched sometime next week on Monday. And just how important is that to the society as we close?
Basically, the postgraduate course, it is postgraduate education course on radiation protection and safety of radiation sources. It is a course or a training program organized by the International Atomic Energy Agency. But now it will be coordinated by the regulatory body, that is the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. And it will run from 2nd of October this year to 29th of March next year in 2024. And Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority, we are working in collaboration with several training institutions, several stakeholders to host that course, which will be hosted at the Kenyatta University here in Ruiru, in the Kahawa area. And the course is very important because it is targeting young professionals in the radiation field, especially the young regulators who are recent graduates, maybe from chemistry, physics, life sciences, and engineering. And they'll be taken through practical and theoretical lessons on application of international safety standards related to radiation protection, how they are applicable, how they can implement them, and they'll be expecting when they go back home now, they'll be able to transfer the same knowledge to their colleagues and people back home. And this training will be drawing together 17 countries.
And we wish you the very best as you move to making sure that the public understands what nuclear and radiation is, because yes, it's information that is out there, but not a lot of people understand how important they are to their own lives. We wish you the very best from NRA, KNRA. Also say hello to your other big brothers from the power plant. My name is Dennis Aseto. That conversation brings up